Last night, my daughter and I were listening to recording. It was for inspiration. It was very interesting. It was inspirational. It spoke about a woman. She was already an older single, and they didn't have the funds. The reason why she wasn't married, yes, because they didn't have funds to marry her off. Her parents didn't have money to help her to marry, and she couldn't find somebody who wanted to marry her without these funds. So I'm just giving you a little synopsis of the story. So what happened is, it comes Yom Kippur, and she's sitting down, and she wants to daven, she wants to say Tehillim, and all of a sudden there's this like little tiny, older woman who comes, sits next to her. And she's like opening up her Tehillim, or she wants to start to daven, and then went, no, you help me. I don't know what page we are, and I don't know where we're on. So the whole entire time, all the night of, you can forget Kol Nidre, forget Arabi, nothing. The woman, she couldn't daven. The woman's she couldn't pray. The next to her, this little old lady is asking her every 5 seconds, find your place. Okay. The next day, she sets her up technically. She moves. She goes to a different place in the shul. Okay. She's in a totally different place in the synagogue. She sits down. She's like, okay, now I'm going to get to daven. And guess who with her little cane is going after her? This little old lady. The little lady goes, oh, I'm so glad I found you. She comes, sits next to her. And then, as you know, you can imagine, she starts, and where are we? No, is it what page? Where exactly? What's going on? So then what happened was Yom Kippur ends, and this girl feels broken. She's like, I didn't even daven. I didn't do anything. She goes home. The next day, there's a knock on the door. And who's there? This little old lady. And this little old lady was like, I've been looking all over for you. And she starts telling the parents, you have the most wonderful daughter. She helped me. And she's just wonderful. And how old is she? They told her the age. And she said, why isn't she married yet? And they said, well, because we don't have funds to marry her. So she said, I'm going to write out a check right now. And I'm going to give you the funds. And the next day, you can imagine the story. The woman gets engaged, and this little old lady who was bothering her the whole Yom Kippur wrote her the check, gave her the money, and she got married. So in this inspiring story, what would we learn? We learned that a person who wants to do something and they can't because somebody else, they're doing a chesed, a kindness, and so for that they can't do something. We learned in this story, wow, what a beautiful, happy ending. She gets rewarded, and look, it was all worth it. So guess what? A woman who carries a baby for 9 months in her belly is doing 24 hours of doing a chesed, and she's giving over to herself. A woman who's nursing her child, who's feeding her child. Do you realize a mother spends her whole life, can spend her whole life giving, and she doesn't even realize she's doing a kindness and a chesed? We don't have to go to shul necessarily to pray those 24 hours to get this opportunity to be so close to Hashem. You can take that moment right now where you're holding, as many people are in your home right now, and you can use this moment and say, Hashem, look what I'm doing. I'm making spaghetti for my family. And I will tell you, in that moment, if you stop and you think about the value of what you are doing, it is no different than this young woman who wanted to get married and was the whole entire Yom Kippur doing a chesed, a kindness to this little old lady. Please keep this in mind as we sit, and we will be Yom Kippur, I am almost sure, all of us, probably, mostly in our homes. And the person who feels like they are just not being able to go anywhere, they're not being able to connect, and you say, I'm not doing anything. I am here to tell you, me, Elana Mizrahi, that you are doing so much, but stop. Take a moment, and in the midst of you doing something, whatever it is that you are doing, I want you to take a moment and stop and think about, wow, I'm doing a huge, tremendous chesed, and value what you do. Gemar Chatima Tova. Shana Tova.